The Motion Picture Association of America's report for 2018 is finally out. I'm sure everyone's been sitting on the edge of the seat waiting for this report. It's got a lot of good things in there about the ethnicity and sex breakdown of the films from 2018, and particularly we've got the Infinity War in there, and we've got Black Panther in there, two big films from 2018. The MPAA has detailed reports on the top 5 grossing films for each of their years. It doesn't really go into a lot of detail about all the other ones. Unfortunately, Solo was ranked the 10th biggest film according to the MPAA for 2018, so there's no detailed stats on the Solo makeup. A little bit of a disappointment. But anyway, here are a list from the last 5 years of the MPAA reports as to what the audience makeup was. What was the percentage of male audience goers and female audience goers for the top 5 grossing films of each year? We can use this list from the MPAA to compare to Captain Marvel's male and female percentage of the audience and see if Captain Marvel has a very male-dominated audience or a very female-dominated audience compared to these other top 5 grossing films. The most skewed film one way or the other is Beauty and the Beast. It had only 36% of its audience were male, whereas 64% were female. So there's no other film skewed in such a massive fashion. We might call that the most sexist film, if you like, the one that doesn't really appeal to men at all. Only 36% of males were in the audience. Maybe most of them were boys being dragged along by their mothers. I don't know, but 36% is pretty low. Finding Dory, Inside Out, Secret Life of Pets, The Jungle Book, and Wonder Woman were also slightly dominated by a female audience. And then The Incredibles 2 was the only one that was bounced out with 50% and 50%. We then have Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom, and then Jurassic World, and then Fast and Furious 7, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Black Panther, Age of Ultron. Force Awakens was 58% male-dominated. We got The Winter Soldier, Transformers: Age of Extinction, Star Wars: Rogue One, Civil War, or Captain America: Civil War, Spider-Man, I guess that's Spider-Man: Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, and then we got The Last Jedi on 60%, and we had The Force Awakens on 58%. So we can see Last Jedi was slightly more male-dominated than the previous Star Wars film, which is a little bit funny since The Last Jedi gets a lot of criticism for being overly feminist, and they got the crazy lady who won't tell anyone the plans with the purple hair, and they got a new Asian lady in the film, and so on and so forth. So for being sprouted as a feminist film or a female-dominated film, females didn't like it as much as they liked The Force Awakens. And then we've got Infinity War also on 60%, and we've got Deadpool 2 also on 60% male-dominated audience. So, where does Captain Marvel fit into this? Will Captain Marvel have a more female-dominated audience than Beauty and the Beast? Will it have a very evenly split audience like The Incredibles? Or will it go down the other way and have a bit more of a male-dominated audience like all of the Transformers and MCU and Star Wars films? Well, right now, it's hitting on 61% male audience. It is heavily dominated by men. It is the most male-dominated audience that the MPAA has any kind of statistics for any films in the top 5 for the last 5 years. So all of the talk about girl power, and finally we've got a woman in charge of a film in the MCU, and basically men don't care. They went to see an MCU film, and women like it a little bit less than they liked Infinity War. Okay, it's not much different from Infinity War, 61% versus 60%, but it's not in Wonder Woman territory. Wonder Woman was 48% male audience, 52% female. So females basically aren't seeing the film any more than they would see any other MCU film. They're seeing it a bit less. This is the most male-dominated audience of any MCU film ever. And it's had a lot of advertising, a lot of articles written saying, this is for women, this is a women's film. They got a cat in it. There is a cat in the film. They've turned Samuel Jackson into a cat lady. And it's got more men watching it than females. It's got more males watching than females. It's not just 51% to 49, it's 61% to 39%. Women don't like what's happened with Captain Marvel compared to other MCU films, just like they didn't like what The Last Jedi did compared to what the previous film, Force Awakens, did. So females are turned off a little bit by feminism, it seems, or overt feminism. I should really say fake feminism. I've got other videos saying I don't think that Captain Marvel is a feminist film at all. I think it is pandering to the lowest common denominator that thinks maybe it's a feminist message. There's nothing feminist in Captain Marvel. It's just a normal action film. happens to have someone who's a female in real life as the main character. That's it. That is all it has. It's got Brie Larson as the main character, but the film is not female geared, and female audience isn't there. There is no great female audience to go see Captain Marvel. This little preliminary report here also says that 14% of the audience were Asian. Now that is an absolute massive percentage for Asians. I believe Asians are somewhere around 3% of the North American population, and they normally get something like 5 to 6% of the movie-going audience. I know sometimes they lump it in as Asian/other, and so that might be why the percent goes up a little bit. I think other is for anyone that says they're other, and it's also where they put anyone in that selects two races, I believe, is how they generally put it in. But if that's what they've done here, where they say Asian, if it's Asian/other, 14% is still massive. And so Captain Marvel, for whatever reason, has a more Asian-dominated audience and a more male-dominated audience. So we can say that the Asian men really love Captain Marvel. Maybe they like cats. I'm not sure what the demographics are for cat lovers. If Asians like cats more than others, I'm sure there's a joke in there about liking cats, but not in the way I mean. But I don't know what it is, but that it seems like a very obscure, a very strange percentage. 14% of the audience was Asian. But anyway, women don't like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is not a film appealing to women. It is nothing like Beauty and the Beast, and it isn't even anything like Wonder Woman. Now, we can't end things without hearing again from our good old pal Brie Larson. Brie Larson's been busy having some selective memory problems over some of the things she's said or been accused of saying. So here's Brie pretending to be a little bit dumber than she really is, and what she actually said.
But as an actor, when you have to say something like that, do you worry about how things get twisted? And for audiences who only do read headlines, can you clarify what you were saying? 'Cause I think it's awesome what you're doing, and I hope that more actors do it.
I mean, it's hard for me to comment on that because I don't know what the headlines were or what was said or what I said or what people think that I said.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
So, A Circle in Time wasn't made for 40-year-old white dudes. Maybe it should have been. Here are the statistics from the MPAA from 2018 about the breakdown of frequent moviegoers. The big group there, we can see at the top in the middle, are the 25 to 39-year-olds. But the second biggest group are the 40 to 49-year-olds. 40 to 49-year-olds go and see movies more often than 18 to 24s or 12 to 17s or 2 to 11s. And also the 25 to 39-year-old bracket, that's a 14-year bracket, 25 years old to 39 years. Whereas the 40 to 49, that's only 9 years. So there are a lot of people that are over 40 to 49 that go and see movies. The third biggest group here, interestingly enough, for 2018, are the over 60s. Over 60s are the third largest demographic. The fourth largest demographic are the 18 to 24s, and the fifth largest demographic was the 50 to 59s. And so if we just lump all of the plus 40-year-olds into one group, that is by far the largest group. The plus 40-year-old dudes would be half of that. And then if we look down the bottom at the ethnicity of the frequent moviegoers, we can see that 22.7 million of the frequent moviegoers, it's more than half, were Caucasian. So the largest ethnicity that are moviegoers are white, and the largest age group are over 40, and half are dudes. Now, if we delve a little bit further into the sex breakdown, the male ticket purchases were 53% of all the ticket purchases, whereas females were only 47% of all of the ticket purchases. Moviegoers were split down the middle, but actual ticket purchases were skewed a little bit towards men. And what that means is that men were more likely to see more than one film in the year than women were. So a lot of women saw films, the same number of women saw films as men, but men were marginally more likely to see more films. So I think maybe next time Brie should perhaps, maybe not necessarily target, but don't not target the 40-year-old white dudes. Maybe her films won't bomb. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.